Good morning, everyone. We're just waiting for more attendees to tune in. We'll start in about 2 minutes. Morning, Mish.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. And you?
Good, thank you. I'm trying to put my video on, just so you know.
Sure, everyone's waiting to see your beautiful face.
It's not allowing me to. There you go.
Cool, we still have people logging in.
Perfect.
Filling up. Let's give everyone another 1 minute or so.
Super.
I still can't see you, Mish.
No, it is saying the host has stopped the video. So I don't know, maybe if you can just check on your side quick.
Cool.
I even put on especially nice lipstick, so I hope that everyone can see me.
Yeah, I think I've allowed it now.
Okay. There you go.
There we go. Purple lips, you look very cold.
No, I'm in Durban, I'm not very cold. Wasn't the look I was going for.
Beautiful, but cold. Cool, guys. Let's give it 1 more minute. Okay. And maybe just before we start, so we are really just going to have quite a casual chat, interview style. I'm just going to ask Michane to share a little bit with us and our Icon advisors about what Capsule Legacy does and why they play such a critical role in the market and helping advisors fulfill their fiduciary duties. So it's going to be, yeah, just questions and answers pretty much. And then at the very end, we'll pull up some slides with some examples of what the kind of product fee structure looks like and some basic examples of how the products basically pay out advisor commission and a share of estate fees. So yeah, until then, you'll just see us and we'll, yeah, very casual Q&A session. Please, if you have any questions or comments, write it in the chat and we'll attend to it as we go through. We'll chat for about 20-25 minutes and then we'll open it up to some questions and discussion. Okay.
I'm ready when you are. Yeah.
Cool. So for the Icon advisors who don't kind of really know how Capsule Legacy fits in with us. So as you know, Icon goes to market and we explore all the options to advisors in terms of product providers and solutions out there for you and your clients. And when it comes to fiduciary services, doing wills and estate planning, it was kind of a no-brainer that we partnered with Capsule Legacy on this front. It really is a very easy plug-and-play solution for your practice. I know many of you might have a friendly advisor, a friendly attorney, or someone kind of linked to your practice who might help you with your wills and fiduciary services. But really, Capsule Legacy has made the whole process of getting clients to do wills and make sure that all the gaps when it comes to estate planning are plugged. They've made it really easy. The company was started by kind of ex-financial advisors. So really financial advisors who saw the problems with estate planning and how, it can really cause problems for the families when someone passes away and they don't have adequate estate liquidity and their will isn't clear. So that was kind of the need, and as a kind of preferred icon partner, we just wanted to chat to you, introduce you to Capsule Legacy, and let you know what it has to offer. So Capsule Legacy do have their own broker consultants, but as you'll probably know, and if you don't, talk to me more about it afterwards, Icon really tries to make the advisor's life a lot easier by streamlining the process and reducing the need for broker consultants in your offices. So we do have a friendly broker consultant in every region that helps us with the administration and things that Icon can't typically do. So Michane is actually our point of call in Natal or KZN, and then there's regional BCs in the other areas. So that's kind of the model, and your key relationship manager. So it might be myself, Richard, Jonathan, or Tion up in Gauteng will kind of facilitate the whole process and make it as seamless and pain-free for you as possible. Okay, enough rambling from me. I'm going to jump straight into it, Mish. So from your kind of side, who is Capsule Legacy and why do you exist? Maybe plug any gaps that I might have left out.
No problem. So I think just it's important to give everyone a little bit of background, just to know, how long we've been around, what's kind of at the heart of why we do what we do. So we have been around for just shy of 9 years. We've got a staff complement of about 550 people around the country. And it's really important for you guys to know that the service you're going to get in Durban is the same that you will get in Joburg, Cape Town, Polokwane, all around the country. Because I know a lot of advisors do have clients in outlying areas. So we will be able to, give them the same support regardless of where they are. So the reason we actually came into being, and as Grace was saying, Alex actually started the company years ago because he did really great financial advice, but he had one specific client who actually passed away, the life cover paid out, everything was, as per his planning. And when it then came to the will and actually winding up the estate, the person inheriting was actually a minor child. And he saw the way that the estate was handled, the way that the fees were exorbitant. And he actually, kind of was hoping there was a better way to do things. And that's how Capsule Legacy was born. So it was really born from a very real need. So on the one side of the company, we have the wills. That's absolutely the core and the heart of our business. So we have will drafting, will amending, will save custody completely for free. And yes, we do get clients who literally want to amend their wills every 2-3 weeks when they have a dispute with someone. That's not a problem. So the will service is also, always absolutely for free on that side. And we will never ever charge for that. So if there is a client who really has a very small estate, but they require a will, we will never ever turn them away. So regardless of the estate size, always, first and foremost, the will. Then on the other side, we look at the fees, which are obviously always going to be there. A lot of clients think that they have a private banker, and they're not going to pay fees when they pass away. There's a lot of misconceptions around that. But we then really discuss with clients the fees around passing away. So your executive fees, property transfer fees, and one that is often overlooked. Pardon?
Or the hidden costs.
Yes, pretty much. Very hidden, especially if there are minor children involved. And what I've actually found is that a lot of advisors, they do really great planning and they do their executive fee calculations. Sometimes they're conveyancing fee calculation, but they don't always make provision for those testamentary trust fees. So we actually sit with the client and we outline all those costs, and then we actually have an optional solution for those costs. So that in a nutshell is what we do for our brokers. Very much focusing on the will, but also not forgetting about the fees, because everyone should know about those fees, and then the way they handle it is obviously up to them. But we do have an awesome solution, which is our protection plan, that then just plugs into that will as well.
Okay, so if I'm a financial advisor and I just want my clients to do the will through Capsule Legacy, that's an option and that's free. But you kind of facilitate the plugging of the gaps when it comes to the estate planning and taxes.
Correct. So a lot of advisors will write life cover to plug in some of those fees. But as I mentioned, sometimes some of the fees are overlooked, such as the testamentary trust fees or third-party fees. So our product actually uses indemnification. So we don't just have life cover that, say, pays to a beneficiary or pays straight into the estate. We actually have a facility, which is the best way of explaining our indemnification, where let's say the client requires 400,000 to wind up their estate. Their facility might be 500,000. We actually invoice for what we use. The other 100,000 falls away and the client's fees are completely covered. So it's quite nice to have the will and the protection plan under one roof. So no one's actually asking the family for fees. It's a very traumatic experience when someone passes away, obviously. So this solution really does help, and it really helps, the advisor as well, because it's not an awkward conversation about, oh, there's actually a shortfall. No money changes hands, and we actually just seamlessly start to wind up the estate.
Okay, and just for the benefit of people and advisors that might not know much about Capsule Legacy and how it works. So you've got your fiduciary services side that does the indemnification, which would prevent the client from paying all those fees to a executor.
Correct. So we've got the fiduciary on the one side, the wills, and then we've got the insurance on the other side, and those two literally hold hands and work together to wind the estate up in the most efficient way possible.
Cool. And that's how you create the efficiencies and can save clients lots of money.
Yes, lots of money, lots of time, lots of grief. Also, having, a cash lump sum payout to a spouse or to a beneficiary, it sounds great when you're doing the planning, but when someone actually passes away, trying to get that person to pay that money back into the estate to actually wind up the estate is a very, very difficult thing to do. We know, because we do have agency estates that come in that don't have the legacy protection plan. And it's incredibly difficult to wind up those estates, because even though a client might have gotten 5 million Rand, asking them to part even with 400 or 500,000 Rand is very, very difficult. And it's that people just aren't willing to do. And that causes a whole lot of delays very often in the estates. So this is our way of, plugging in and saying, great, the need is there. There are a few different ways that you can actually plug that need, but we believe this is the absolute best way for the advisor and for the client.
Cool. Thanks, Mish. So who should do their will with Capsule Legacy?
Every advisor that is on here at the moment and all their clients. No, very honestly, I mean, years ago, I think there was a big, or maybe even for people watching here, they believe that estate planning is just for the elite. So we've kind of come in and said, estate planning is for everybody, okay? Maybe not as in depth for your man on the street, but we are willing to assist absolutely everyone and meet them where they are at. In saying that though, we do have very specialized services within our service offering. So for your high net worth client, we have our technical advisory center that actually deals with a lot more in-depth, the use of calculations. If a client has international assets in jurisdictions that we can assist with, we will help them. If they've got assets in other countries where we actually can't assist, we will also, make a plan with them and actually have a lot of additional meetings with them. So we can meet clients wherever they're at to actually assist them with their need. We can assist clients over 60. We can assist clients that are 99 years old. I mean, very often an older client will come to a broker, or maybe it's a client that says my parents actually need help, and an advisor often can't help them because the premiums are incredibly expensive, and also health conditions, those kinds of things. So we've even created a product for clients over 60 with medical conditions that actually indemnifies 90% of their cost of dying. So there really is a place for everybody, whether it's an 18.3 small estate under 250,000, or it is a massive estate. We can apply, special fee concessions to bring the fees down, and we have unlimited indemnity plans even. So regardless of how many properties a client has and how long they have to, keep funds in testamentary trusts, we're able to run those at no cost through our insurance. So I hope that answers your question. Pretty much everybody, but I also don't want advisors to think that it's just kind of one shoe fits all. It is also highly personalized, especially if there is a client with a very certain need.
Okay. And now let's say that I'm a financial advisor and I've got a very important client who thinks he's or she is very important, and I don't want a young kind of will consultant going and seeing them by themselves. Can I go with the will consultant and kind of facilitate the process?
Absolutely. So we do have some advisors that, especially when they first start with us, it's obviously very scary to hand over your client to somebody else, and I can understand that. So we do have advisors that actually come with us, walk through the system with us. What I have found is generally after 2 or 3 meetings, you will have an advisor saying, you know what, I trust you guys. And also they sometimes have a certain rapport with a certain consultant, and then that consultant will see their clients. We can always do prep before the meeting as well. We actually go out and see the client, on their behalf, but there's absolutely no issues with an advisor going with us, join calls, not at all. Our system is also completely ring fenced back to the broker. So whatever happens in those meetings, the broker will find out afterwards via email. Everything goes back to them. A lot of emails.
And on that point, it was something we actually, I think, forgot to put in our discussion points, but just how many or how advisors actually use that will process to almost get a needs analysis of their client and all the information. So especially if you're an advisor who's maybe taken over a book, if you've taken over succession of someone else's book, it's a really nice way to get to know your clients, without going through that book and all the information yourself. So I know I call on some advisors that are doing that at the moment, and it kind of, especially from an icon point of view, we think all financial planning should start with the will. So it's a really nice way to get to know your advisors and their needs, and also and have someone help you do that.
Sorry to jump in, Grace.
No.
A lot of clients are actually very open to telling the wills consultant everything about all their assets, and then the blueprint actually goes through the advisor, especially in a case where it's a new client and the advisor's going, I had no idea that this guy had all these additional assets. So I think sometimes meeting with a financial advisor, on a first occasion, especially maybe if they've had bad experiences previously, they don't always give you the full picture. But generally when they are discussing their will, it's something very close to their heart. It's to do with their legacy, it's to do with their family. And often there's a whole lot of extra information that comes out, like a property in Malta, or I've seen all kinds of things. So it really is a great tool. So for a new advisor or someone actually taking on a new book, to actually, look at that blueprint planner that we actually do with the client in the meeting. It extracts so much really, awesome information, including health information of the client as well.
Okay, cool. So, so I hope that answers questions of advisors who might be a little bit wary of kind of handing over the whole process to Capsule Legacy. You can be a part of it the whole way.
Absolutely.
Cool. So what makes Capsule Legacy unique, or what makes the offering unique, and why should I go with Capsule Legacy rather than using my dad, for example, who is a lawyer who does estates?
So there are quite a few different reasons, obviously, but something that I would put very much at the forefront there is the fact that Capital Legacy really views the advisor as our client. As much as we are very client focused, obviously the advisor really is our client. And as an advisor, you have a fiduciary duty to actually have the will done. We have had some instances where actually in Johannesburg, a family did take an advisor to the ombudsman because there was no proof of him ever having asked the questions about the will, and not having that will in place actually created an absolute disaster for the family. So we really ring fence everything back to the advisor, from the communication to the reinvesting of funds, you know, at the end again, to just absolutely everything. And I think that is something that we do really, really well. I think that that does make us unique. I'll give you an example. So let's say you have a client with a will at a bank. There are also investment brokers at the bank. They are a few doors down, and there have been instances where advisors have had a will with the bank, and those funds are almost reinvested before the broker even knows. Whereas we actually really pull you into the fold the whole way through. And obviously we can't force a client to reinvest with you, but to date, I've been with the company for 5 years. It's only happened once where a family actually didn't want that advisor involved, because you're ultimately the one that's introduced the service. Your name is on the front of the will, even though perhaps we've given the advice, you're still the person who has ultimately been there throughout. So I think that is one of the things that really, really stands out for me, is that the broker's always at the center of that.
Cool. Cool. Okay. And from a commission point of view, I know we're going to go through an example, but how is that different? Again, say my advisor uses my dad, who's a friend who does wills because he's a lawyer. What's the difference between an advisor using a friendly lawyer versus Capsule Legacy from a commission point of view?
So in a second, I'll chat about the commission. Just on that point, just another thing I want to throw out there. There are advisors who do use an attorney friend. Obviously, no problem with that. There's obviously a lot of people that have relationships. But something to bear in mind is the fact that succession of that attorney may not always be there. So if that attorney does pass away, it is quite important to kind of have a succession plan, you know, on that. I have seen quite difficult situations like that, such as that actual attorney passing away just before the client actually passes away, or pretty much simultaneously. It can cause a little bit of a delay within the estate. But when it comes down to the commission, obviously, as much as we love our clients, we also want to know, you know, what is in it for us. And ultimately, a lot of advisors, I think, overlook the will or don't do the will for that very reason. It's something that maybe they aren't so comfortable doing. They're not 100% sure of the advice. Plus, it is very time consuming to do the will, especially when you're not 100% sure of how to do it. So how we work is that when a client just takes a will with us, there is no charge absolutely for the client or for you or for anybody, but there is no money that changes hands for you as the advisor, but the client still gets a beautifully drafted will. We even will send a courier to collect that will at no cost to the client. We actually carry the cost of that. If there's a legacy protection plan taken out by the client to indemnify their fees, there's an 8 times multiple that pays out to the advisor on our base products. And then, without going into too much detail, if the client takes any of our extenders, there's full life commission that pays on that. So the 10.2 times multiple, second year's commission, and your ACIs that pays out on that. So that's on the upfront side. Then something that also makes us quite unique is we also assist a broker with building up a book value in their practice, which is great. I mean, you have a short-term book, you have a book value of your short-term book. So we have kind of said, well, why can't we do that for wills? So every single client that you have on book with us has a value attached to basically their policy, so that when they pass away, there's a book value payable to you. To give you a very quick example, on a unlimited plan, it's about 82,000 Rand payable to the advisor. On a bronze plan, about 5,000, and a gold plan, 23,000 Rand. And you can
anywhere
create
from 5 to about 82.
Yes, correct.
That's on the LPP.
Yes, that's on the legacy protection plan, which indemnifies the actual fees. Also, if your client has taken a will with us without a legacy protection plan, we also do share in fees with you, but the matrix just looks slightly different. You will then share in fees on a percentage basis. So between 10% and 50% of those fees, depending on how much obviously the executive fees are.
Okay, so there's no upfront if my client just takes the will, but there is a percentage share in fees. Later.
Correct. Yeah, there's always a percentage share in fees. And something I didn't mention earlier, Grace, every single client that comes through our doors that we meet with actually gets a legacy protection plan. Our core plan, which is our first legacy plan, has no premium attached to it. Right. But what we do is we promise a client a 25% discount on their executive fees, trustee fees, and their conveyancing fees, which is also incredibly unique. We even send the client a policy schedule to say, here's your policy schedule. And I do sometimes get emails from clients saying, I didn't take out a policy. Why do I have a schedule? You literally open it and you'll see R0 value, 25%. The reason we do it that way, we don't know in 10 years time if the industry standard fees might change. We're still promising a 25% discount on the industry standard, even if it changes in 10 years time. So that's also something really nice. And it's kind of something that the client keeps with them. Whereas a lot of attorneys might say, we'll give you a preferential rate, but they don't necessarily write it into the will. It's kind of a verbal, chat between the friendly attorney's, dad when he was handling the book. So it's quite nice to have something concrete as an advisor to actually say to your client, this is the promise. And here it is in black and white.
Cool. Cool, Mish. We got about 5-10 minutes to keep chatting before we'll open up for more questions. Cool. In the meantime, if there are any questions, you can write them down now in the chat, and we can make sure that we prepare for them. Okay, so kind of getting to the crux of it, just around how do advisors work with Icon and Capsule Legacy. So in the beginning, I kind of explained why the relationship and Icon exists to make sure that advisors are enabled for the future and can actually make their practices profitable and streamlined. So we really are trying to make sure that advisors have the best tools and products available to them to mitigate their risk as a practice and their risk to clients. So that's kind of the no-brainer reason why we're working with Capsule Legacy. In terms of how you work with Capsule Legacy, so if you on the chat and you've got a Capsule Legacy consultant, you are welcome to carry on working with them directly, and especially if you've got the system kind of ready going. But I think most participants here are obviously tuning in to find out why work with Capsule Legacy and what are the advantages. So your key relationship manager, again, if it's myself, Jonathan, Richard, or Tion, will assist you in the whole process. We will liaise with the one Capsule Legacy consultant in the region and facilitate all of that and chat to you about how you would like to go about it. So whether you feel super comfortable in the Capsule Legacy reputation in terms of sending your clients to be contacted with the will specialist directly and they have the meeting by themselves, and obviously you get all that information back, or whether you want to do the whole will and blueprint conversation yourself, which we and the regional consultant will train you on. And then somewhere in between where you can still let the consultant do the conversation, do the blueprint. You don't have to learn the systems and all of that, but you can be present, which is a really nice way to start. Which brings me, Mish, to kind of how does the contract work, and if an advisor today wants to send 10 clients off to do their will, how do we do that?
Sure. Okay, so we do have 2 ways that advisors can work with us. Most of our advisors work with us in a referral capacity. So it's literally as easy as chatting to a client, seeing the need, sending through their name, surname, cell phone number, and email address to Capital Legacy, either via our system or obviously via your relationship manager at Icon. You then have a conversation with your client, because obviously the worst thing is the client receiving a call from us and not knowing it's not a good feeling. So chat with your client, tell them we're going to call. We then set up a meeting with them. If you would like to be in it, obviously you accompany us. Otherwise, one of our consultants will go out and see them. That's the referral model. Then on the other side is our intermediary contract. That is where all advice falls on you. So on the referral contract, it's literally you refer, we fulfill, all compliance is taken away from you as the advisor, which is quite attractive for a lot of people, especially if they aren't sure how to give that well advice. On the intermediary contract, we would need your FSP license, and we would actually come and give you apps. You would do the blueprint calculation with them. You would extract the information for the will for them. We will still draft the will for you on system, but you would be the person responsible for actually getting all that information about who needs to inherit all of that.
So it could be done with the needs analysis process, right?
Correct.
And the blueprint calculator gives them all the questions they need to know.
When you pop the example on, I'll actually just show you guys, this is what the blueprint kind of looks like, the start of it. It is a very simple process. I also don't want to, simple is the wrong word. It is very comprehensive, but there aren't a hell of a lot of inputs. But you put that data in, it will then basically tell you what plan is necessary for the client. Compliance falls on you. You will get paid the same amount. It's an important thing just to mention, whether you refer to us or whether you do the business yourself. So that's completely up to you. We also have some advisors who refer out some, and then they write some of the business themselves. That's absolutely fine. And as you maybe start with us, maybe you would like to refer and then maybe transition into an intermediary contract. That's no problem at all. They both are available as long as you are independent and you have your own FSP license for the intermediary contract.
And for advisors tuning in, if that was confusing, we'll hold your hand through it. But basically, the referral contract can be done in like a day, not even.
Incredibly fast, yeah.
Super fast, so we really can get going, on Monday with referrals. And the intermediary contract, it requires a little bit more information, but it's also super quick and simple.
Slightly more information, but I mean, if we get contracting, we can literally have it loaded within 24 hours and you'll be all good and set to go. The contracting is very, very simple and very easy. And like Grace says, we will literally hold your hand through the process. If you are writing the business yourself, obviously will take a little bit longer with the training, but if it's on referral basis, literally you can submit your first client and they can be seen within a day or two.
Cool. All right, guys. So you might have heard Capsule Legacy did a lot of noise and PR around the launch of My Cover. So Mish, so we've got the LPP that works with all the indemnification and hand in hand with the will, super simple, very kind of minimal in terms of costs, but really covers the advisor in terms of the fiduciary services. What is My Cover and why have you gone into life insurance?
I love this question. So the life cover didn't just launch because, we wanted to be like a Me Too solution and be like another, life insurance company out there where we're also doing life insurance. It was really born out of a really big need. And that need being a lot of estates coming in, even though they have the legacy protection plan, there just is such a big shortfall when it actually comes to debts within the estate. Also, with once again, life cover paying out to a spouse or to a third party, and they're not actually being willing to pay that back, into the estate. Yeah. So our My Cover was really designed to be an estate liquidity tool. And we also are very, 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 very strong on the fact that we believe beneficiary best practice is estate as the beneficiary. I know a lot of advisors don't do that because of the executive fee increase if you actually put that into the estate. But our promise as Capital Legacy is whatever My Cover and life cover you put into the estate through My Cover is actually indemnified of those fees, which is amazing. Which is really amazing. I mean, the life cover, regardless of where it pays, is still going to land in your estate duty calculation. But for executive fees, it's actually, there aren't going to be fees on it, which actually solves that problem. And it also solves a lot of problems for us when we're winding up the estate and we actually need cash to pay off the house and the car and it isn't there. So that's the reason and the thinking behind it.
Oh, I think we might have lost Michane. Sorry, Mish, we lost you for a little bit.
Pardon?
We lost you for a little bit. So just to summarize, the My Cover is really there to allow liquidity in the estate, and the life cover that the advisor will do as part of the FNA is for all the typical needs that the advisor kind of factors in, but the estate, the my cover will pay into the estate, which allows all the extra hidden costs and liquidity. So that might be anything from a few $100,000 to 10 million.
Correct. And we also don't have a minimum premium amount. So we literally are seeing some clients who literally have a 90 Rand premium for some liquidity going into the estate, because it really, really is for that need. In saying that, the My Cover can have a beneficiary outside of the estate. It can go straight into trust, or it can, you know, go to spouse or whoever, but we are very, very strong in the fact that we would like it to go into the estate. Just some basic
need.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay.
What they need. And then just some basic information around it. Our maximum amount is 15 million. Anything over 10 million requires blood work. Anything under 10 million, we don't call for bloods unless there is a specific condition that a client, you know, talks about. So we can then obviously call for bloods, ask for additional information. But literally last month, 55% of our cases that were under 10 million auto issued. So we literally got the application. If the client has said that they are completely healthy and they have obviously signed for that, we can actually auto issue their policy the same day. So it's there to be a very convenient life cover for a very specific need. And also I don't want anyone to feel that because it auto issues or because we don't do bloods every time that we underwrite at claim stage. Not at all. We do underwrite upfront. So amazing product. Also, it is a rider benefit to our legacy protection plan.
So you have to have the will and the legacy protection plan as the foundation, and then the My Cover comes in. And now the advisor controls the My Cover conversation as it's an insurance product, right?
Correct. So we cannot, as our consultants, we cannot at all sell My Cover. My Cover is only sold by IFAs to their clients directly. So when you send a lead through on a referral basis for a legacy protection plan, our consultant does not even understand how My Cover actually works, because it is there for the advisor to write on their side. So I also don't want anyone to be, you know, worried about that. That's completely only done on the IFA side to actually.
It's a more efficient life cover. So just like using FMI or Sanlam's life cover, you can use My Cover, especially for healthy lives. And it's just, it's again, there's lots of efficiencies in terms of the fee and indemnification.
Correct.
Cool. Okay. I just want to wrap up here. So we're going to kind of carrying on from that conversation and showing you how it works. We want to, we've got some questions. Jono, for My Cover, if a client has recently been underwritten, can medical tests be waived?
Yes, they can. So we do have that contract with all the insurers. So if they've been underwritten within the last 3 years, we can use those medicals.
Okay, awesome.
What really helps is just having the policy schedule when we're actually submitting the case. But yes, absolutely.
Cool. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen. Cool. Okay, so this is just to summarize again the needs around the legacy protection plan. And then there's just a little example here, Bobby Smith, and a screenshot of that blueprint tool, which effectively tells you what you need when it comes to a legacy protection plan, covering all these kind of hidden costs. Michane, do you want to just quickly talk us through this, how it works,
sure.
and then the premium and the commission?
So just firstly, this is not the pretty version that gets sent to the client at all. This is just a snip of what our blueprint planner, actually our calculator looks like. So if you would be referring, this is what our consultants would use. And then if you were to be doing the business yourself, this is kind of the tool that you would use. There are different pieces to it, but this is just the basis of it, just to give you an idea. So on this specific client, Bobby Smith, he's between 31 and 45 years old with a monthly income of 40,000 Rand. The person who is inheriting from his will, basically based on his will information, is his spouse. He's married ANC with accrual, and his executor is Capital Legacy. What's very important here, you'll see trust vesting age. So incredibly important with minor children to have a trust in order to make sure that that money doesn't go into the government guardians fund. So we, for this specific example, we've put in a testamentary trust of 25 years old, and we've said the youngest beneficiary is 17. So basically meaning if the client passed away today, there would be 8 years for that trust to run. There is a property, this is actually a primary residence in the input of 2 million Rand, a life cover paying into the estate because according to us, it's beneficiary best practice. So that's what they've done. And there's liability of 500,000. Okay, on this estate.
Sorry. When you say
yes,
life cover, is that what the policies is, the 1.5?
Yes, correct. So on the arrows, you can actually open them up. And so, for example, on property, property one is almost always your primary residence because of certain tax abatements. And then you can put in various different properties, and policies. It's the same. It's your life covers though. So you can say to estate, to other, to trust. There's a whole lot of different inputs you can put in there. And then on this client, the premium would be 178 Rand. And the commission to this broker would be 1,568 Rand. So just a very basic example. Our average premium is generally 190 Rand.
Cool. And Mish, what are they getting for that 178 Rand?
So what they're getting on that is this specific one was a gold indemnity plan. So the client's getting all the executive fees, property transfer fees, trustee fees completely taken care of. They're then also getting their third-party fees taken care of up to a certain amount. So third-party fees being your master's fees. If you have a property, you actually have to forward pay the rates for 3 months. Okay, so we're literally looking at all those various things. Mm-hmm. Another example, a very real example. Let's say, for example, the client has a firearm and we actually have to transfer that firearm. We have to pay a company called Legally Armed to actually move that. So that's an example of a third-party fee.
So you take all of that away?
Yes, so we literally do absolutely all of that. What else is also included is an immediate liquidity portion. So that is an amount that pays out within 48 hours of us receiving all the documentation, which actually pays out to a beneficiary, generally a spouse, as an example. And then we also have an estate gap cover built into this product. So what that is, it's a second dying benefit. It's there predominantly for inheritance taxes, your CGT, your estate duty. If there isn't actually CGT or estate duty on a specific estate because it's under that threshold, that money would still be paid into the estate and it would then be distributed to the actual beneficiaries. So I know that there's a lot of information and this doesn't actually allow me, the platform, to be able to explain it all correctly with everything. But basically for that 178 Rand, you have all your fees taken care of, your third-party fees taken care of, plus your second dying benefit, which is also...
And you spoke about the immediate liquidity and this monthly overhead. So does this include any kind of cash benefit in terms of immediate liquidity?
So this specific calculation that I did doesn't include any extender, no, for that. But we have that available. So I'll quickly run through that. So we have a product called an Estates Overheads Protector. What that does is it pays money into the executor's hands. Okay, I know that sounds scary and a lot of people go, but why? Reason being, we want to be able to hold that money in our hands for a 6-month period, to be able to pay the school fees directly to the school, to be able to send groceries to the family's house while bank accounts are frozen and so forth. We can pay Eskom directly. So we actually have money in our hands for a 6-month period. Whatever is left over and above that, we pay back into the estate date account. So that's another one of our extenders, but it's not actually in this calculation. The premium would have been slightly more if we had that included, as well as the commission.
Cool. So basically, this is quite a basic example that basically covers all the fees of your life covers and your other policies and assets and liabilities.
Correct. So if this client would be to pass away, they would be sorted, but there wouldn't be the extra additionals such as the overheads protector, which is a really nice to have extra, but it's not part of our core offering. It is something you have to take over and above just the legacy plan. It's an extender.
Cool. Perfect.
I hope that doesn't confuse anybody. Sorry.
No, but that's also why the follow-up meetings are important.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. So this is that was legacy protection plan, which is built onto the will. Built onto this is the option for you as the advisor to then use my cover as a further estate liquidity tool. So this is how we would use, again, life cover on Sanlam or FMI or Hollard or whatever, products you use. But because of the indemnification, there's again further cost savings. So there's further efficiency for your client if you're using this life cover for a specific estate liquidity need. So on this example, it's quite a juicy example. There is effectively, 11.5 million rand life cover. It also has the gold indemnity plan, which is an LPP product, which effectively is 1.5 million rands worth of indemnification, and then 10 million life cover. So I'll then hand it over you to go through the kind of commission breakdown and how that works. And I think the most important point we want to kind of point out here is that fee share when it comes to the state fees.
Yeah, absolutely. So just for everyone to understand a little bit in the background. So we house most of our costing within our legacy protection plan. And that is why our My Cover as a rider benefit and extender is really very affordable, especially, well, across the board, but very preferential rates for smokers as well as females. So our quoting system is also incredibly easy to use. Literally will take you 2 to 3 minutes to actually, pull out a quote. When it comes to commission, so on this specific client, there is a gold indemnity plan, which is 203 Rand. You always need that LPP in order to have the My Cover attached to it. The My Cover premium being 5,699 Rand for 10 million Rand on this 51-year-old female smoker. The commission for you as the advisor, so on the legacy protection plan would be 1,500 Rand. And your initial remuneration, so your first year's com on the My Cover life cover would be 55,000, just over 55,000. You would also get an advance on estate fees. You'll see it there at the end. It's a 500 Rand. So every single client that does My Cover always gets 500 Rand also paid over to you as an advance on estate fees. That's your first year's commission. Then your renewal com, you'll see there's 18,635 Rand. So that's all the upfronts. Now, something very unique, something really awesome. I was talking about actually building basically a succession plan for yourself with your wills book. So because in this example, I chose estate as beneficiary, and we believe that's best practice, we actually give a really large amount of contribution to your book value. So when this client passes away, from the LPP, you as advisor would get 24,453. And you'd also get, because of the My Cover, an additional 120,750 Rand. So altogether, 145,000 when this client passes away will be payable to you as the advisor. So you can see that you're really assisting the client with their need. You're covering, their fees, you're covering their debts. And for you as an advisor, you've done it because it's the right thing, but you also are really being remunerated very handsomely, and you are not doing any of the work to wind up this estate. We do absolutely everything, but we do share very handsomely in fees with you, especially because you chose the estate as beneficiary.
So if I do one client like Linda Shanga a month, I can actually effectively build a book value ongoing of, 145,000. So you can really create a juicy embedded value for your book.
You can, and every month with your commission statement, you actually see your book value growing. It's really great. Sometimes at the beginning of the year, we'll sit with advisors and say, your book value is X amount now. Where would you like to have it at the end of the year? So it's quite exciting to actually build that, and year after year to be able to see the growth on that book while doing an amazing thing for your client. And I mean, earning also very well off it. This is obviously a big example. It's not always going to be as much, but on a very kind of normal kind of smaller amount, you very easily getting 30, 40, 50,000 Rand adding onto your book value, which is a lot, especially when you're seeing 5, 6, 7 clients a month with the legacy plan.
Yeah. Cool, Mish. We've got some more questions. That's pretty much brings us to a wrap. Someone asked, is the book value transferable? And should I sell my business? Can that be transferred?
Yes, I actually had that question yesterday. So yes, you can. You actually can leave it to somebody. Cool. And when you sell your practice, obviously your book with your Capital Legacy book can also go with them. That's not a problem. Otherwise, it would not be as exciting because most of us do want to retire at some point.
One day.
My spoiled clients have wills and legacy plans.
Cool. Guys, please, if there are any more questions, shoot them through. Otherwise, you are welcome to kind of log off, and then please set up an appointment with either myself, if I'm kind of looking after you, Jono, Tian, or Rich. If you are not, for whatever reason, working with Icon, please pop me an email on grace@icononline.co.za, and I'll be happy to take the conversation forward with you and introduce us to some other partners that we work with.
Super. Well, thank you for having me as well, guys. It's been really great to chat to you. I'm sure we might have some more questions coming through. If not, I've obviously done a brilliant job at explaining everything.
Thanks. I definitely learned a lot. I thought I knew most of it, but I definitely learned a lot. And I think especially, oh, there we go. Nick, if we deal with the referral case and the Capsule Legacy consultant during the meeting discovers asset info which the IFA is not aware of, will the Capsule Legacy consultant feed that info back to the IFA so that the IFA can attend to my cover?
Yes, absolutely. So we always do, but we are also very sensitive to that. So obviously in the meeting, we're not going to say, oh, we found a big gaping hole in your planning and, someone hasn't done a very good job of it. So we will have that conversation with the client, but that will be fed back to the BC, and you will then ultimately go and write that business. And I do honestly get about 3 or 4 of those emails a week where it's actually pushed back to the advisors. So we definitely do find opportunities for you every single time, pretty much, when we see your clients, especially if it's a new client.
Cool. And Nick, I mean, you could attend to that with my cover or whatever other life cover they have if they're locked in with Discovery or whatever the case is. And definitely that need will go back into your advice hands.
Absolutely. And what you can also always do in that case, I mean, if there's a really, really big gaping hole and the client has a lot of their business, let's say, for example, with Discovery, you could write that, but then you could put a portion into the estate with my cover. So it's just nice to have that tool to be able to actually fill that gap. But we will certainly always feed it back to you. And once again, just to put everyone at ease, we certainly won't ever write that ourselves because we actually can't. It has to be written by you as the advisor.
Cool. And practically, so how is that kind of dealt with? If I'm the advisor, Mish, you or you kind of the Icon consultant or the Capsule Legacy consultant, and then there's a wills consultant who's the wills specialist. Will the wills specialist send effectively the transcript and all the gaps back to the IFA?
No, he will send it back to the BC. Who will then feed that back to the broker, and we will then have a conversation, go through the blueprint together, and obviously assist you with quotes and so on. So generally it's done through the BC. The consultants, as much as you're welcome to call them at any stage, and they sometimes do phone you, generally we try and manage that through the BC. Okay.
So then, guys, in an Icon context, what Icon can then do is proactively send you quotes for my cover, FMI, Sanlam, and kind of do the proposal of the best of breed and best kind of quote premiums for that specific need. So that's where we would kind of add the extra value.
Sorry, Grace, just to, sorry, apologies.
No, go.
Just another thought popped into my head now. Sometimes a really great tool, let's say, for example, you have an EB book, or you're looking to get into EB, really fantastic to actually ask us to come along with you and actually do a wills presentation. And through that, we can do wills for those clients, do the
yeah.
and suddenly you have a whole lot of information that you can actually use to write a whole lot of whatever you need to do with that client. So
Brilliant.
Also really great to use this as a tool to create opportunities, even in places where you perhaps haven't been before. So we also always do assist with things like that as well.
Cool. So that's employee benefits, guys. If you have a friend or client's business that you are doing all the policies for, it's a really great way to gather all that information and obviously plug the fiduciary duty gap. Yeah, it's a great way to start.
As well as you have a client, it makes the client feel really special when you ask them about their parents and are their parents sorted out. And we have a lot of that where we actually see a broker's clients and then after that we see their parents as well. It's a nice way for you to ring fence those parents back to you to also assist them with reinvesting. And it just leaves a really good feeling for that client knowing that you as the advisor has actually really, really holistically looked further than just that immediate family. And made sure, that everything there is taken care of as well, because very often your client is the one that has to end up
deal with
sitting
it.
Yes, correct. So also just another thing I thought to mention, which really actually can help you in your business.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Cool, guys. Doesn't look like there are any more questions. Again, please just pop me an email or your key relationship manager and we can take the conversation forward. Thanks so much for your time, Mish. Really, really appreciate it. And Michane is our broker consultant linked to the KZN team. And then, like I mentioned, there'll be someone in the Gauteng and Cape Town area. Cool.
Okay,
and
awesome. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. That's all.
You too.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed the session.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Okay. Bye.